Today, I'm going to talk about perfectionism. So, one of the tricky things about working with um, our perfectionist tendencies is that actually it serves a really useful function of, let's just say, quality control. And often that can be used as an excuse to just continue to edit, to keep controlling the end product. We've gotten to the place where we are very successful in our lives by doing more and harder and, better. And the tendencies and the way that we operate actually now, as we step into more and more senior roles, can really lead to burnout and a lot of dissatisfaction in our lives because the volume of work we'll have is going to be much larger than it was when we started off in our careers. So the way that I've discovered to work with perfectionism actually came about in a roundabout way for myself. I actually discovered it because I injured myself by doing too many things on the computer and created a repetitive stress injury in my arms. And so now when I do too much editing, um, I actually get a signal of pain. And I do not recommend that you actually use this particular pathway that came into my life. Instead, I want to offer you a few other ways to work with the perfectionist tendencies. And so perfectionism, to some extent, as I said, it's great that you have this internal discernment of, quality to a point actually, then it tips over and it becomes a bit too much. And so when that happens, the important thing is to actually feel the sense of that in the body because it's a compulsion that arises within us. And so when we want to make another, round of edits, the key is to actually pause, not make the edit just yet, and just feel the felt sensations in the body. You might want to ask yourself, what is this actually about? Because generally it's going to be based on, some level of fear within us. And so actually taking some time to write it out or speak it out loud of, what are the things that we're afraid of can help give us a little bit of space from this old habit of actually continuing more and more rounds of edits. And then the second is to focus on the process instead of the, output. What is a process that I believe in that, will lead to a good product in the end? And to then follow those steps. And when those steps have finished, that you stop because it's already predetermined. Your logical and analytical brain was, online then. So for example, you might say, well, I actually think, 3 rounds of edits, that's enough. For where I am, the skill set that I have and the experience, 3 rounds of edits is enough. And so after that, then we shall stop and press send. So this focus on the process helps us shift from, perfectionism, which actually uses control as the main, energy and driver, to shifting into the real mastery that we have. When we are shifting into a place of mastery, you can think about, an artisan, when they are chiseling, a piece of marble to create a sculpture, and they might find something in that marble that was unexpected. Maybe something that looks like a flaw. But someone who's really masterful will take that part and turn it into something that makes the whole piece luminous. I see mastery as actually building up that muscle within us to meet whatever happens, whatever comes into our life, whatever mistakes, for example, we might make, to meet the emergent in life in a way that honors our values and allows us to, continue to move forward and make progress in other areas other than the, one thing we're really potentially zeroed in, laser focused on. And that leads me to the final offering here, which is to promise ourselves that we'll forgive ourselves for all the mistakes we're going to make in this lifetime because we're human and it's bound to happen. And the alternative is to really belittle and criticize ourselves endlessly, which doesn't actually help anything. So when we make this promise to ourselves and we start building that level of psychological safety that allows us to actually really to proportion the effort and energy and time we should be applying to any particular task in our work and life.